Men of a still natural nature, masculine men out there, need one thing. They crave one thing above all. Many don't even realize it. And that thing is brotherhood. Without brotherhood, life is going to continue to feel a little bit hollow, a little bit incomplete. And in fact, we're going to lack the vitality, the raw expression of wildness that our ancestors had. But the thing about the modern day is we really don't understand where men thrive and where brotherhood comes from. We are very ignorant of the masculine soul. And the thing is brotherhood cannot be some contrived thing. It's not getting together to watch sports and play poker with the boys. That is not how you create brotherhood. Brotherhood comes from a very specific thing, and that is open space. What I want to call a frontier in this video. So I just watched the movie Oppenheimer, and in Oppenheimer, all of these scientists are gathered all over the world and all over from America for this project of creating the atom bomb. And this open space, this is a brand new field of science. And on top of that, there's all this pressure from Germany, from neighboring nations like the Soviets, and there's this race into the open space. And all of a sudden, these men who are on this frontier, right, are trying to solve problems together. They're facing enormous challenges together. They create this town called Los Alamos, where they all have to live together, work together, get along together, and overcome these problems. And in this town, you actually see this like thriving spirit of adventure, this thriving spirit of masculinity. And it's because there's open space available to them. And that's the thing, is masculinity thrives in frontiers. For all of human history, there's always been a frontier, meaning there's open space. So if you think about around the tribe, there's all this unknown, wild open space. And open space has a couple inherent qualities. It's dangerous, it's unknown, and there's a lot of adversity in it. And because of that, men band together to go face it, to go master a new open space. Frontiers is what creates brotherhood. And this is the most natural thing that men have always done for all of human history. If we think about our ancestors, they hunted together, they went to war together, they gathered resources together, they built houses together, they farmed together, they trained together, they celebrated together. They were one. For almost all of human history, our ancestors had brotherhood. Men thrive when they have shared purpose amongst other men. This is a shared social bond, a sense of identity. It is us versus the world. It is us versus this scientific project. It is us versus the wildness of nature or the wildness of the other tribe. And we are here to protect, to explore, to expand the will to power of our tribe. That is the masculine urge right there. So if we look across history, we can think about the Native Americans and their hunting parties and their war parties. We can think about the Greeks and the Athenians when they defeated the Persians. All of a sudden they had all this open space being the Mediterranean, and they created this amazing navy and experienced the golden age of Greece. We can think about the Renaissance, which corresponded perfectly with the age of discovery. When Magellan was sailing across the seas and Christopher Columbus was exploring the New World and all these men were going into this enormous adventure together, the Renaissance was happening. All these men were exploring the frontier of the intellectual space, of the scientific frontier. There was a rebirth of philosophy. There was a rebirth of, scientific thinking and like all of this quick expansion. And that's the thing about a frontier, is a frontier can be intellectual, it can be a business, it can be artistic, it can be open space, it can be your own body. Like you look at the martial arts temples of China, right? All these men are building this massive sense of camaraderie, this massive shared cause of becoming the best martial artist possible. And they're all training together to master themselves. Themselves becomes the frontier. And the Kung Fu Temple is about the mastery of self, right? So it's so interesting is that when you remove the frontier, you remove the impulse that creates brotherhood. And the interesting thing is the more safe that you make society, the more explored you make the world, the less masculine men become. It is simply because there's no danger that they must face together. There's no problem that they must solve together. So therefore, it becomes every man for himself. And that's the modern world, where everyone's just working their own job. They're on their own mission. They got their own little family, their own little pursuit of pleasure. But there's no common cause. I've sat in many men's circles. I've run men's circles. I've created brotherhood circles. And brotherhood, like, I have this urge to go on a great adventure with my boys, with my comrades. This is how you move a friend into a brother position. And this is what we've always had. And the problem is just having friends over to play poker, or watching sports, or even having like men's circles and doing men's work. It's all a couple tiers down from actual brotherhood, because actual brotherhood is only formed not by having fun, but by going through hell, by going through challenges. Put a bunch of men into a dangerous wilderness area, right, who are strangers. They will become a band of brothers in a matter of weeks. And they'll build these relationships that last for a lifetime, because you actually get to see each other. You get to learn how to relate on a deeper level, and you actually get to go into counsel to solve problems and also reflect on the journey so far. So I went to a festival the other day with, it was a bachelor party. So we had a bunch of men there. And we had this wild experience for 3 or 4 days, right? And we did a lot of things together. And at the end of that, one of my best friends there, we ended up in this tent just talking for a few hours, processing what our inner experience was like, processing like the other men in the group and the experience we just had, processing the past, and also talking about the spiritual path, the personal path, and moving forward and the challenges we're facing. And it felt so natural. It felt so good to sit with a man in true counsel like that, because we had this huge shared experience. We had this shared bond. But when men just come from their separate lives, right, where they have their own family and their own job and their own mission, and then you get together for an hour or a couple hours and you talk about it, I don't feel directly connected to your life, because you're not beside me facing the challenges of life, or celebrating the wins of life, or enduring the setbacks of life. You are all on your own mission. And this is why it's only creating friendship. It's not creating true brotherhood. Brotherhood can only come from the mastery of open space. It can only come from the frontier. And that's a hot take. A lot of people may debate me. I have an uncle who says, yeah, like, I have my brotherhood from, playing poker and games and whatnot. It's like, yeah, we can have friends that way, but it's not real brotherhood, because our life isn't on the line. It's not deeply meaningful. We're not a citizen of a tribe going to do something together. So how do you address this? How do we actually create brotherhood? Again, there's a couple ways, but I'm encouraging everyone to go comment where their frontier is below. Because the bottom line is, you need a frontier. I really bond over men who are also YouTubers, because we're kind of on a shared mission, right, together. I also bond with other men who are, I have a business partner starting this men's community, and all of a sudden we have new problems to face every day. We have a shared ideal we are moving towards, an open space to master along the way. So therefore, you're actually doing something. And that's what it is. It's just doing something that's meaningful with other men, even if it's just one other guy. That's how you start building brotherhood. So there's a couple different frontiers out here. There's like, building a compound, an off-grid community, like learning those skills. There's also the frontier of business. Sports is another one. Building a awesome volleyball team or a sports team. Like, it's not quite as juicy as like going into the wilderness to go find where your tribe's going to settle. But, this is the modern day. Another frontier is the intellectual metapolitical frontier. And a lot of my videos are metapolitical. I'm not talking about partisan things. I'm free thinking outside of the lines of dogma about how we can create something flourishing. And I'm spreading a message of health, of vitality, of connection and community and philosophy to other brothers, to other people out there in the world. There's also frontiers on the cutting edge of AI, on the cutting edge of crypto, on the cutting edge of technology. And that takes like a very specialized type of person. But essentially right now, my friends, is we lack frontiers that we are going into with other men. We need to solve this if we actually want to have brothers. And here's the thing, listen up. The world is getting more and more turbulent. It's getting crazy out there. We're at the turning of an age, it seems like. And in times of turbulence, the most resilient thing you can build is a tribe of men. Because men are what found something. They protect something. They provide for something. Your masculine community is the most resilient thing on earth. And if there is an agenda high up in this world, it is to atomize men. It is to separate men. It is to demoralize men. It's why we give men all these sedative things like pornography, entertainment, social media, vapes and zins, and like pharmaceutical drugs, and we put them into these solo cubicle jobs and make them a cog in the machine and don't give them ownership of anything. And we do this, okay, because men, especially young men, banding together it's the most upsetting and dangerous force to the status quo, okay? So there is an agenda to demoralize men and to separate men. I don't know if it's conscious or if it's just out of ignorance. But my friends, if you're feeling hollow, if you're struggling to level up, if you're wanting more out of life, you need to figure out how to create brotherhood. You need to find your frontier and find your boys that you're going to go master the open space with. This is how you start thriving. And the interesting thing is when we don't have a frontier as men, okay, we're going to fall into our most base nature, meaning we're going to make romance and love and women the center of our worlds. We're going to make the pursuit of pleasure and comfort the center of our worlds. We're going to want to escape life because we don't have the vitality of our community going towards an ideal. And that's what true friendship is to me. What is a friend? It's not just someone who's there for you. It's not just someone you kick it on the weekends with. A friend to me is a platonic lover of the same ideal as me. That's what a true friend is, because they want the same thing. They're in love with the same thing, and they are moving towards that pinnacle, that icon with you. That's what men do. That's what men thrive doing, having a common cause. It is so simple. If we look at every revolutionary time, every time of great expansion, every time of flourishing in humanity, from the ancient Greeks to the Renaissance to, the Enlightenment to Victorian England, it is times of expansion where men are uniting around a common cause. That's all we want. Whew! Sometimes these videos just pour out of my soul. Thanks for watching. I'm Christian. If you want to talk to me one-on-one and join my men's community, I got an online community where we are building brotherhood in whatever way we can. And that's expanding and growing. There's a link below to learn more about that, to talk to me one-on-one. If that's not for you, I encourage you to watch my last video here on ownership and why men need it so dearly. Thanks for being here. Hope you enjoy this new type of content. Leave that hit that like button. I'll see you at the next one. Peace.